All righty. Well,
So I would love to. Go ahead, Randy. Please.
Well, I was going to do a conversation starter, but you're welcome to.
Please do, Randy. I would love that. By the way, Randy did a great job helping out with Cincinnati Software Craftsmanship last night with the planning and stuff. So thank you for your help, Randy.
Absolutely. Well, a lot of really good people in the community makes it a lot easier with so much support. I just know there's a lot of JavaScript people here today. David Reek actually was showing me a little bit of Node stuff when we met up a few weeks ago. He actually helped me get a lot of clarity. And at my job, I'm just about starting jumping into some Node myself. And I've heard some things thrown around, like Express, and there's actually the person who wrote this actually wanted to use something called Happy instead of Express, apparently. And I'm not familiar with that one. Do you know that one? I'm just curious if anyone had any thoughts on, or would be wanted to take a stab at explaining the relationship between Express to Node, because they seem to go together a lot, and some of their experiences with Node.js.
Well, I would just say that like Express is just kind of a framework that makes Node easier. So don't be like intimidated by learning both, because learning Express takes a lot of the climb out of Node, if that makes any sense. I would almost compare it, and maybe someone can correct me in this if I'm wrong, but it's almost like how Bootstrap makes CSS easier, Express makes Node easier as well.
And I could be wrong about this, but in general, Express it's a Node web server. Like that's kind of, if you want to run a web server with Node, the default option is Express. It's not like, part of the Node package or anything, but that is kind of the default web server for Node. Would you agree with that? Others on the call, or disagree?
I'm pretty sure you can write servers in Node without Express. It's just an easier way to do it. So.
Okay, cool. Then
definitely can, but it's like you're writing like super low level stuff, and Express just puts a nice abstraction over it where it's
gotcha.
Understand what you're doing. I wouldn't write one without using at least
gotcha
or some other framework.
Good to know. I'm looking forward to getting into it. I've been working with Java for a while, and every time I switch from Java to JavaScript, I appreciate something about the other one more each time I move back and forth. Any other JavaScript users on here from the unfamiliar faces?
I use JavaScript, obviously, but who doesn't use JavaScript? I'm more curious about. Like, anybody here doesn't use JavaScript at all? Okay, that's a no.
Right on. Ben, do I believe you just graduated from Tech Elevator?
I did, and so did Adam.
Right on. Congratulations.
Congratulations, you too.
Congratulations.
Yeah. I guess this is like, it's been a few weeks now, and we're just rediscovering the real world, and it's a terrifying, scary place. I want to go back.
I mean, they're still there for you to some extent, right? I mean,
oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, they're still they're still all in, and it's like they're all great, but yeah, it's still. And here's another recent graduate, Lisa Kinley.
Hey, Lisa.
Hey, hi everyone.
We're just taking over.
Hey guys, hey Ben.
So how do you? So you've been pretty happy with the career style support from
Tech Elevator? Absolutely, and I think I was definitely one of the older people in the cohort who has more like I guess work experience. So I think my expectations for the job search might have been different than some people. I can't speak for everyone, but yeah, I'm very happy with the effort that they put in, and the right opportunity will come soon enough.
I mean, it's a weird time right now, like with COVID and the holidays, but I know a lot of times the beginning of the year is a heavy hiring time for a lot of companies. That's been my experience in the past, at least.
So yeah, and I mean, just my interaction with, companies and recruiters this week has picked up so much because it's the first time they're back to work in, 2-3 weeks.
That's great.
Yeah.
Do you all follow, I suddenly, just a moment here.
Taylor?
Taylor, yes. Taylor Desson. I found his advice to be pretty useful for newer or devs just on the job market in general. So worth checking it out, or at least see what he has to say. He was on TN Tech, and you can actually watch his video if you want on the YouTube channel.
Ooh.
Yeah, I've been taking in his content quite a bit lately.
Good.
He's got a number of different things. One of the things he does now is he tries to do it daily, do like a short live cast.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's exclusively through LinkedIn or if there's multiple outlets, but if you're following him on LinkedIn, you'll get a notification that usually about 10 o'clock in the morning, he goes live for about 10 or 15 minutes. And that's cool. But yeah, he's got a lot of good stuff. And
Is he a developer out of Nashville or Tennessee? Am I remembering?
He's a recruiter, but a developer recruiter. And he's gotten to the point where, he's been doing this 6 years now. I forget the actual number. And he actually manages a team of recruiters at this point. And his primary job, as if I remember correctly, again, now is, content creation and stuff like that, and kind of a advocate and helping to bring in more people and that kind of thing.
What's his last name?
Desson, Desseyn. Here, I can drop the link to the video if you like,
okay.
And that will probably help.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem.
yeah, he's got a number of different resources. He's got some resume templates. He's got a couple different podcasts, one of which is called Guidance Counselor 2.0. You can find that on Apple. He said he's redesigning his website, but yeah, like Michael said, he's spending a lot of his time on sort of advocating for people looking for jobs, and he's all about, his line is all about recruiters are terrible, but I'm not, essentially. And he
learn how to use them effectively, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I dropped that link in the chat there if you all are curious. I can also drop a link to his LinkedIn if you like, but I'm sure you can find him pretty easily. So, yeah.
So David, you start boot camp on Monday, right?
I do indeed.
Wow.
You had that moment there. You're like deer in the headlights.
No, I wasn't. I was trying to get my microphone to unmute.
I felt like I had just sprung something on you.
Yeah, I know. Like, whoa.
I do?
No, I'm muting my microphone because I'm sipping on Coke. I don't want to have you listening to my sipping sounds. And I click on the button, it doesn't unmute. Come on, unmute. Yeah, I went down today and picked up my laptop. So
they provide you a laptop.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. Now, is it temporary? Is it yours to keep? How does that work?
Oh, it's temporary.
It's a loaner. Okay.
Yeah.
They take it back.
Okay. Good deal. I think that makes sense.
And waste no time in doing so.
Okay.
But
David,
yeah.
Are you studying Java or C#?
I'm doing the .NET track.
Okay, awesome.
So yeah,
Cool.
and a guy named Joe Riggs is going to be teaching it.
Yeah.
Yo, you got the
That was
best
great.
t-shirt.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I met Joe today, and in fact, there's for all the Tech Elevator people, obviously, there's a little icebreaker they've got tonight at about 5:15. So kind of meet my fellow students. So it's funny, Ben, you made me laugh when you talk about being one of the older students.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going for the award for the oldest.
Love it.
We'll see. We'll see. But I'm young at heart.
It was quite the experience for me because I am not what I would consider old. And then getting in there, it's like, oh, I don't understand what any of these youngins are talking about. Kids
The
these days.
memes and the snapgrams and the.
Snapgram.
It's like the intern I had that started calling things flame. And I was like, what does flame mean? And he's like, lit. And I was like, okay, so the lingo has lingo to describe it now. Great.
Yeah, I can't ask what that means. Then I'll look really lame.
Yeah, I'm using legacy slang.
Been deprecated.
Right, exactly. That was 1.0. Come on.
Yeah.
We're on
bad.
3.0 now, so you're gonna have a hard time catching up.
There was a day when this intern started saying no cap around me just because, and he wouldn't tell me what it meant, just to like drive me nuts the entire day.
I looked it up the other day because I didn't know what it meant either.
Cap?
No cap.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So-
don't know what it means.
You looked it up. You got to
You
tell
have to
us.
share it
Ben.
now. Come
It
on.
means no
Yeah.
exaggeration.
No what?
Sorry, I was filling my face when I said that. It means no exaggeration.
Yeah.
So like it means like I'm not
They're not
exaggerating.
lying.
Not
Yeah.
All right. That's not what I
No
thought. Okay.
cap. I'm trying to, yeah. So my mind right now is processing through like, what's the origin here? Like, how does it evolve from I'm not lying to no
I
cap?
thought it was
Like,
like,
So like a hat, they're not covering anything up. There's no cap.
oh.
Okay.
So like no hat would be another.
wow. Wow.
I thought it was like
There's a
busting
couple
cap.
levels of abstraction going on there, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's like Cockney rhyming slang, you know?
So are there any projects that cohort, I guess it was cohort 9 just finished, that you guys would like to, or you folks would like to tell us about by any chance? Cool things you're proud of?
Ben
Oh.
Shannon had a cool Reddit project.
I did.
Reddit.
Uh,
Awesome.
You know what? I edited a little copy of our presentation to my group.
Mhm.
I'm happy to share that with everyone.
Do it.
I'd like to see it, yeah.
Yeah.
See the
Do you
cutting
also
edge.
share it on LinkedIn?
I thought I did. Maybe I didn't.
And if not, why not?
Yeah, that's a very good point. It's you know, some recruiters would love it. Some would look past it. We'll
That's
see.
okay. You gotta go for the hits, right? You're not looking for just to be average. Like that's the advantage is, if you can stand out to that one.
Oh,
then-
we swung for the fences.
It stood
Right.
out. It was funny.
While you're pulling it up, Adam, what's the synopsis of it, would you say?
It was like a Reddit clone, and it had this really good background song.
Oh, so music plays when you open it up?
I think, yeah.
Is it a Rickroll? Because if it's a
It kind
Rickroll,
of was. Almost.
Oh, it's much more than that.
Yeah, it's better.
oh no! Now I gotta click it. Uh-oh.
I mean,
We're all
it's,
going to this.
it's like 10 minutes, so
Oh, okay.
you can watch it on your own time.
Lisa and I were in the same group. We should have recorded ours or something. That would have been cool.
I have the recording.
Oh,
So,
really?
but
Can you
this
send me
isn't-
that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Drop it in there.
See it.
Cool, cool, cool.
Is this project deployed anywhere?
Eventually it will. It's just like it wasn't, that wasn't part of sort of like what we had to do, but my group, we are going to launch it at some point.
Okay.
I mean, so what's it gonna take to get it deployed? It's a Node app, or what is it? Right. It's a Node app with an API backend. Is that typically what it is?
Yeah, I mean, it's just going to take, it really shouldn't take that much, but we just have to work just like one day and just polishing up some stuff. And
Is your backend, do you use .NET or Java?
Java.
Java. And then still doing Vue on the front end?
Mm-hmm.
Right on.
Cool.
Lots of Vue.
Yeah.
Oh, my.
Our whole project.
Adam and I built workout app.
Yeah.
Michael was there actually.
Cool.
Yeah, I saw that. Yes.
Mhm.
Well done.
Yeah, it was really neat.
I was like, oh, I worked through my lunch largely, and then I'm like, okay, it's the the tech elevator demo day. I got to get in there, at least check some out. So I was able to get in like 2 or 3.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Thanks.
I missed out. LinkedIn sometimes does this thing where it doesn't, I see a post 2 weeks later. And I was kind of bummed.
Yeah.
I was looking forward to seeing these, so I'm gonna have to keep
Yeah.
a keen eye out for the next. Yeah, be sure to share that, Lisa. I'd like to see yours too. So you and
I
Adam work
thought
together, and
the
What's that?
tech elevator, I'm surprised actually, the tech elevator, maybe I should check my spam, but doesn't email kind of a huge list when demo day is happening.
Hmm.
Maybe they do and I just missed it, but
I must have too. They just started transitioning over to Slack, and I just
Mhm.
got on that page. I think they're gonna start filtering all their communication through that.
mhm. That brings up an interesting question I'll bring up later, but
Randy or Ben or any of you, do you still have access to the Tech Elevator Slack?
Yeah, they
The-
have.
Mhm.
Oh, sorry.
No, you go ahead.
It's so they just have different like channels. They have an alumni channel and then like current students and then boot camp. So yeah.
Yeah, I was just wondering what kind of continuity they had for once you're finished with the program.
Yeah, I mean it's just it's not quite as active when everyone was in there. So it's mostly just me yelling at the clouds at this point.
is that because you're trying to deploy the clouds, you're yelling at the cloud?
Yeah, exactly.
Or is it, what's the Simpsons, old man yells at cloud?
Yeah.
Is that right?
The headline on the paper.
Yeah.
Okay, I'd love to ask y'all a question. So we used Git at Tech Elevator,
Mhm.
and so I was always, there were not a lot of rules. They didn't really teach us a lot of protocol because it's kind of they want to get you just your fingers wet or your toe wet on a lot of different technologies, and then you go find it out yourself. So the question is, was anyone doing feature branches or using branches on their Git repositories, or were you just pushing straight to master every time?
Actually, they were early adopters of Main, but
Oh, that's right. That's a big transition these days. Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
yeah, a little annoying because I had it set to master by default, so I had to specify every time. But I used it like once just to make another. We used branches in like a capstone project because I think this guy was working on it without me, and then I basically reviewed it before we actually merged the stuff because we wanted to make sure it was like good and stuff. So I mean, we used it a little bit. I don't think they really taught us how to do that or anything, but it's not too hard to figure out. So
I'm glad you didn't think so. I thought it was a little hard to conceptualize, to be honest with you. Knowing where the repositories on the origin versus my local, and then branches on my local versus branches on the origin, and moving it upstream, all that actually took a little while for me to kind of put the pieces together.
Yeah, I would have liked one day where we just sort of went over all that auxiliary stuff, like how to use Git and how to
Throw you right
install
in.
compilers and all that stuff and on our own computers. But we figured it out eventually.
So I'm gonna drop a link here. I don't know if you all have heard of the Git parable,
No.
but it's a really useful thing for understanding the rationale behind Git. And it starts from a very basic point where, you know, basically the invention of a version control system and how the idea of Git evolves out of that. I found it useful to understand Git better as I read through it, even though it's not telling you specifically like this command does this. It's actually telling you a story about how it is designed. Have you read this, Steve?
No, I haven't. I haven't heard of it.
You're in back.
But it looks amazing. I'm gonna have to read it. I'm trying to write some stuff up right now about Git, especially about like rewriting history with Git. And it looks like there's a lot of really good non-code information in here, which should be really, really useful.
Are you doing like a blog post?
Like 12 blog posts, maybe?
Oh, a series?
That's my plan, but I have struggled to make progress. I'm on number 4, and I have to get past 4 in order to feel confident that I can write the rest of them. Because the first 3 have been like introductions, kind of similar to what he's talking about here, but not as not in a story like this. So this is really interesting.
Cool.
But then once I get past this 4th one, I'm hoping like it's all just like different ways of rewriting your history. So explain the way of rewriting it, show how to do it, etc. But this
Is that
cool.
live already, the first 3? Or are you going to release them?
No, they're not, because they should be, but I'm a perfectionist, and so I like things to be a certain level of polish before I share them, which is a problem as an engineer sometimes. Better to share in progress work. And also, until I make it past this 4th one, I'm not actually convinced that I can do it. Because the first 3 have been really hard to write, and I lose steam on stuff. I lose interest, and I might be at that point already. And if that's where I am, like, I don't want to start a series and not finish it. That doesn't seem helpful to anybody.
Writing is hard, period.
Yeah, I would read the first 3.
And it takes a long time. Sorry, what was that, Nick?
I would read the first 3, even if you don't come up with 9 more, because that's a lot.
That's nice to hear.
I'll wait for all 12.
You just need to read. You just need to read or listen to more Seth Godin, right? Seth Godin, or actually the book I'm reading right now. Actually, I'm rereading it. Is Elizabeth Gilbert, Big Magic. It's all about.
I'm not familiar.
Well, Elizabeth Gilbert, she's best known for having written Eat, Pray, Love. But she's also written some other novels and whatnot. But this particular book, it's called Big Magic, and it's about what's it called here? Creative Living Beyond Fear. And it's just kind of all about her approach to doing creative work, and really the main message that she espouses, which is similar to Seth Godin's, if you're familiar with him, is that just show up and do the work, keep doing the work, and of course Seth is always big on like just put it out there. But
yeah,
no,
I mean, all that stuff aligns with what I need.
Yeah,
which is consistency, and
yeah.
finding the time and lowering the bar for myself. So like not letting my perfectionism get in my way. And also just showing up every week, which is a thing that however often, which is the thing that I get distracted. I get excited by other things. So like now I'm like super excited. The author of the Git Parable is one of the founders of GitHub, and he has written a new JavaScript framework, or he and others have written a new JavaScript framework named Redwood. And I'm really excited about that. And it's like, ooh, what can I build with Redwood? And now I'm like thinking, oh, this other thing that if I would have just shown up, it would be done by now. But now I don't really want to show up for it. I want to show up for other stuff. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'll get back to being really excited about that.
I get in the same boat. You know, I told Michael I wrote this little song based on a video a few weeks ago, and I jokingly said I'll post it up there. And I had the song written and everything. It was just a funny little thing, and I still haven't posted it because every night before I go to bed, I play it, and now I just want to change one little thing, one little thing. I think that any kind of creative work, often you can run into that problem. You're inspiring me. I think I need to get it done. Lisa loaded it up. Yeah, that is a big file.
That's actually like the entire project, capstone project demo, video demo.
Well, that's everyone's.
It's everyone.
That's crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
So Adam, you can save that, right?
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes. Michael, you're on mute.
That is not a small file. Yeah, I've got some creative stuff I just haven't had time for. Need to make some time for. So that's a thing.
Which means you need to cancel other things or not do other things.
Yeah, that's really hard for me. It's like, well, what are the things I cancel? No, that's important, and all these things are important, and I got all these other important things I want to add in as well. So, what do I do about that?
It's tricky.
It is that quite tricky.
And I'm sure pretty much everything we're talking about here in terms of like Steven, the projects you're working on, stuff like that's all like outside of regular work, right?
I mean, this one in particular, yeah, but Michael and I have actually been hanging out a little bit to try to keep each other in check with creating content and doing the community things that we want to be doing. And like out of that, what I've realized is it doesn't just need to be stuff that I do on my own. I've started doing stuff at work too. Like in December, there was a coworker that I had that left who was like one of the artsy originals, and he was like the last of the artsy originals. And when I think of the artsy culture, this is the person that I think of. And so initially I was just kind of in shock, like, I can't believe Ash is leaving. Like, this can't happen. And what's going to happen to the culture? And this is a thing that has happened to me in the past, where it takes an event like that for me to remember that I'm an active participant in the culture, not passive. And so from that moment on, it was just kind of like, well, we could start a podcast at work, or like, I can just write more on the blog at work. I can do all this stuff. And I have asked permission from like 5 people already. And they're all like, yeah, that's part of your job. Just do it. And I'm like, no, I need somebody to give me the permission. Otherwise I'm not going to do it. But everyone's cool with it. So that's what I'm doing, is I'm just spending more of my time doing the things that I really want to do.
Good for you. It's funny. I had a little bit of a similar, I'll say, conviction yesterday when the announcements went out about yesterday's Sensei Software Craftsmanship meeting and the delay. And I saw an announcement come out that Randy posted. Like, oh, Randy stepped up. He's involving himself. I'm like, well, shit, I probably need to start doing some of that stuff too. Instead of just being someone who just gets to show up and enjoy the group. And so just got to step up and do it.
And yeah, I'm going to nitpick on a word that you used, should. Like, if it becomes an obligation, you're not going to do it. You're not going to want to do it. So I agree with what you're saying, but it has to be something that you want to do.
Yeah.
Like that. It's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah, it kind of goes back to what's your why. Yeah.
I found myself interested lately. You know, the one that I keep kicking around in my head about is maybe starting a little meetup myself. We've got 3 generations of tech elevator students here now. By the way, yeah, I was 8, 9, and 10 is just about to start. And just like what I was talking about, they give you a little bit of help on a concept and then you have to expand upon it. And I think conversation really helps out a lot. And I would want to do a group where it'd be called maybe like the noobs or something like that, where it's just all new concepts. Let's just talk about the basic stuff. Ask some really, there's no dumb question here. If you want to know that kind of stuff, and by the way, there are no dumb questions in this group either. Anyone can ask anything, but
Absolutely.
but one oriented around that I thought would be kind of interesting.
Yeah, there's a podcast called Code Newbie, which I've been enjoying a lot since boot camp being over. But yeah, I've been just like soaking everything in and just listening to all of those episodes.
What's an example of like something that they would share?
Like how to do your first like open source, pull, or how to do like side projects, or just very informative, like basic things, I think, but stuff like I don't know, and has been tremendously helpful.
Cool.
Awesome. So I did come into this meeting chat thinking about a couple things. It is our first of 2020. And so if anybody would like to reflect on 2020 or talk about some things some goals they have, some perhaps OKRs for 2021, those kind of things. If there's anything maybe wants to discuss, thoughts that you've been having. I have a friend, Gary Darn, I work with him at Kroger, and he recently published his 2021 OKRs on LinkedIn and asked people to hold him accountable. And I thought that was pretty amazing. So that was a fun discussion there. I'm trying to get him to come on TN Tech at some point. I think that'd be great. He's a product manager. So
ooh, cool.
Yeah.
So 2 things. I've read a couple of his posts, which I've enjoyed. I don't think I've seen the one for. So what is an OKR?
It is OKRs is short for objectives and key results, and it is a goal setting framework. So the idea with that is that you set an objective, which is kind of a overarching idea-based goal, and then you'll define key results under that objective that will define when you have obtained that objective. So I can't think of any really great examples right now, but the idea is that key results are measurable. They are something that you can say, check off and say, this is complete. Whereas an objective is a little more esoteric. And I'm gonna, actually, the best thing to do, I'm finding this right now. I'm gonna link you to his OKR post and you can check that out. There you go. So it's in the chat now.
This is fun. Honestly, Michael, I hadn't even reflected. The holidays were so busy. I hadn't even reflected at all on this. And it's always, I like the word reflection. It's not not even a challenge. It's not an obligation. I think I reflect on last year just on the idea of how much can be done in a short period of time. A year doesn't seem like that long. And at the beginning of this year, I couldn't even have told you what React was or Vue or what a framework is. Definitely didn't know anyone here. And now I feel at least comfortable enough to listen to someone talk about it and kind of keep up. that makes me think about how much I could accomplish this year.
And I guess to follow up and say, I'm really excited about 2021, and I really thought that I feel like 2020 was something of a transformative year for me. I love the fact that we are doing this. You know, I started in April or May, I think. So it's pretty long streak here. You know, not every week, but almost every week. And this has been a real anchor for me, something that just keeps me going, keeps me positive, and helps me to connect with people, which is so valuable to me as an extrovert. Like, I just need that. So thank you all for being here. Let's just say that. And yeah, so that's kind of something big for me out of 2020. Also continuing to grow software craftsmanship, you know, even in the face of COVID and, you know, having to transition to a fully virtual thing. You know, definitely sad that we weren't able to do a Momentum conference last year, but I'm excited for 2021 for that. I do need to define some more concrete goals. I wrote a post last year, I think it was, about New Year's resolutions and how everybody makes fun of New Year's resolutions. And I think that's sad. Granted, New Year's resolutions are generally throwaway a lot of times. People are like, I'm going to lose 20 pounds, and then they do nothing about it, right? So that's the frequent criticism. But I think that anything that will encourage people to reflect and set goals and to really examine their life and where it's going and where they want it to be, I think we should embrace that, because so often we just don't. And it's just another day, punch the clock, have dinner, watch some TV, go to bed, do it again the next day, right? But if we don't continually reflect and plan and have, you know, desires and ambitions, we're going to be in the same place next year as we are right now. So anything that will cause people to have that, to create that time in their lives for those things, I want to embrace that. And I know, talking to a lot of you who have just come out of a boot camp, you know, that's or going into, or any of that, it's like inevitable. Like, your lives have changed so drastically and are changing drastically, and all of these things. So you can't help but you know, examine, right? But there's still opportunities there to kind of dig in and start to think to the future. You know, what's the future going to look like? Where do I want to be? What do I want to be doing, you know, a few years from now?
I got my 2021 notebook for the year.
Nice.
I have like a programming like side project page, so I can
love it.
log it, you know. But
yeah,
high hopes and, you know, all that good stuff.
Good.
I've got a bullet journal I'm using here, if you can see it.
Yeah,
So,
same, awesome.
I don't quite follow all the bullet journal rules, but I don't think you're really supposed to or have to. So I have daily and
That's
weekly
great.
goals, and then
Same.
Yeah.
I think I was
Fantastic.
strict about it, and I just make it work now. Yeah.
I have no such formal things. I take terrible notes. I don't set goals effectively. I'll set it's not swag, it's a BHAG. That's the word that I'm looking for. I'll set big, hairy, audacious goals to some extent. Like, I have, and have told people at times, a goal that I want Cincinnati Software Craftsmanship to be the best meetup in the Midwest, period. Like, how do I, or how do I become, how does we make this the best meetup in the Midwest? I don't even know if that's like a attainable goal, but I think that's a nice North Star, right? Like if I am seeking that and the goal is to become the best meetup in the Midwest, and every month my goal is to make Cincinnati Software Craftsmanship a little bit better that month, then if I'm pursuing that, then eventually it's going to be awesome, even if it is not attaining that specific goal. That system of making it better every month is still going to give me something awesome in my mind.
That's great, and just having the courage to even think that is amazing, because so many of us will just look at it and go, "Oh, I could never do that." I like you. I'm not good at goal setting and a lot of that sort of thing, and it seems like I've tried 1,000 different systems for tracking and whatnot, and I keep trying to figure it out. That's definitely sort of like a lifelong pursuit of trying to figure that out. One of the books that was mentioned maybe in this group was Atomic Habits. Actually, I just picked that up, and I'm just now starting to read that. And I kind of like his framework of he's more about like the goals, not so much the important piece. It's just the systems, what are you doing, and the systems you put in place. If you build the system and just build on it a little bit at a time, a little bit at a time, a little bit at a time. So I'm kind of trying to dive into that just a little bit. It's definitely interesting for me personally at my life stage, because I'm trying to figure out, like, am I just focused on sort of trying to get to the goal line here of not working anymore and trying to reset and say, man, it can be easy to sort of go, man, if I can just get to the end at this point and not have much in the way of ambitions. I mean, a couple of you may or may not know, but I'll share that I'm 55 years old. And it's probably exceedingly rare anybody at my age decides to go, yeah, I'm going to do a major career pivot at 55. But I'm trying to look at it and say, I'm probably going to work for another 15 years. And so trying to reset and get some new ambitions going. And I'm definitely, obviously, I'm real excited to start Tech Elevator and see where that all goes. I haven't really, I've been thinking about some goals for this year, but haven't been too terribly focused on it, just because the big chunk right now is the next 4 months of school and just get a freaking job. I've set my physical fitness goals for the year, but
I don't think that was a struggle for you, David.
well, I've set another high bar for this year. So
cool. I'm curious, what is your bar, if you don't mind sharing?
Well, I'm primarily a runner. I've set my mileage goal for running at 1,700 miles. Set my cycling goal for 1,000 miles. And I want to try and finish a 50-mile run.
So modest.
That's not trivial. Yeah.
Well, I know, Ben, you're saying that, but I mean, I've been working up to this for a few years now. So.
Right. I think that again, go ahead. Sorry, David.
No, I was just going to say, just been working at that over a long period of time. And part of it is just that mentality or that mindset of going, wow, I didn't think I could do that. I didn't think I could do that. So just building on that. And what I was going to say is, now what I'm trying to do is figure out now, how do I apply that level of grit and determination to other things like studying and new career, new job, and so forth.
By stopping the other thing. Like, honestly, I think that's a big part of it, is I don't think everyone has room to do all of those things super effectively. That's one of the issues that I face too. Like, running and biking take priority over that other stuff, and I'd really like to do those things as well and as consistently as I run or as I bike. but I gotta be real about the amount of time that I have in a day and the amount of energy I have and the amount of rest that I need.
Mhm.
I'm not telling you not to do it. You should totally do all those things. But
I think
Yeah.
there's,
Well, and I have a big advantage just in terms of time wise that my kids are growing out of the house, so I've got a lot more bandwidth for that kind of thing.
Mm.
But still, to your point, Stephen, on the one hand, I'm excited about those goals, and the other hand, yeah, it consumes a lot of time. So
I would say, I think there's a base level of exercise that tends to cause enhanced productivity. So like at a certain level, you know, you're kind of gaining back a little bit, you know, like I find the days when I go running or something like that, and I'm, you know, I'm more than 1, 2, 3 miles a day. And I feel just more energetic. I feel like I'm more focused. And so I feel like that's naturally enhancing to my ability to accomplish things. Now, that's the thing that's actually stopped me is a lot of people are like, yeah, I love long miles. And I'm like, I don't really have time for that. Like at three miles, I can do in 20 some minutes. So, you know, that's not a big chunk out of my day. And I can just knock that out, no problem. And it enhances the rest of my day. When I think about doing like 6, 10, now I'm like, okay, how long is it going to take me? So.
No, I figured out 6 weeks into boot camp that I had to just, after lecture, I had to go for a run before
awesome.
I like started homework, because it used to be I used to push through because I would get so like panicked about not finishing homework or, you know, just going for so long. I would just push through, and then I realized it was just the worst. So I had to step outside right after lecture, go for a run. And yeah, but it took me about 6 weeks, and then it felt so much better. But
That's awesome, Lisa.
David will have no problems doing that.
I was teaching at a boot camp this summer, and I had students who would stay after class and do their like homework right then and there. And the first time I was like, oh, this is really cool. They're like really energetic. And the second time I was like, oh, this is really cool. It's really energetic. And then like the first Friday came around and I was like, it's Friday, I'm ready to go. And then like I had like 7 students who were like, no, you want to sit around and do our homework for the weekend. Like, no, you all have to go.
We're done
Get
here.
I love you all, but
I mean, there was a lot of that for sure. I don't know
Yeah.
about Adam. Adam's a hacker, but
Dude,
there's a lot.
yeah, no breaks the whole time, lecture to homework.
There's something about getting in the zone, you know, whether
Yeah.
it be running or coding. I first learned this when I was doing music, and we were touring, and we had to take turns driving the van across the desert. And the desert is a very monotonous place. There's nothing cool to look at. It's just drive. And I noticed that the first 5 minutes felt like an hour, and then a half hour felt like an hour, and then an hour started slipping by, and then the next hour just slipped by, and all of a sudden somewhere about an hour to an hour and a half, time moves in a different speed, and then it always would be, and then 3 hours went by. Has anyone ever coded till 3 in the morning on accident?
Did a lot of things I guess, you know, just getting distracted, but there have been a few times, especially when I was learning, but yeah.
If I'm doing anything at 3 in the morning, it's probably on accident.
The proverbial 3 in the morning, maybe I should say, past your bedtime.
Yeah.
No, I'm old enough to like know how important sleep is, so I can't go past midnight or.
Yeah, I'm with you. I need those 8 hours.
Some companies will have you on call though.
Yeah.
Sound very fun.
Yeah, I'm in an on-call rotation. Luckily, it's pretty infrequent. But I have a habit. I actually been thinking about doing a blog post about this, but I don't leave my phone by my bed. period. Except I guess when I'm on call. But I find that, first of all, I'm not doom scrolling as I'm in bed. I am not distracted. My sleep is not distracted by any incoming messages. I don't have those, urges to, as I can't fall asleep, oh, I'll just look at Twitter for a minute or something like that. And so it is charging in the dining room, far from my bedside. And so once I go to bed, it's gone until the next morning. I'm actually thinking about wanting to create a little device that will sit by my bed that has one purpose, which is to wake me up when I get paged. So that is my goal. If any of you have ideas around that, certainly I'm thinking about like a Pi with a little audio hat, maybe. We'll see what happens. But yeah, getting into the IoT stuff, I guess.
Did you say paged, like a pager paged?
No, you just call it like, I think that they still, maybe I'm using the wrong term, but I feel like people still call it that. Like when we have an incident where something is going wrong with the website, see Steve, then they push out a notification to the on-call people. And typically it goes to your phone app or your text message or whatever you got set up. And then you have to like respond to it.
Mhm.
But in order to not have my phone by my bedside, I need some other device that will wake me up.
Oh, that's fun. That's fun to just think about how that would connect.
Yeah, I agree.
You've given me a lot to chew on. I've actually got a few ideas here for my OKRs, and I'm gonna keep stewing on it this
That's
week.
great. I would love to hear about them, Randy, if you put them together, or if anybody else sets goals for this year, or reflections on last year. I know a lot of people who are, I don't know, influencers is the right word, but developers who have some level of recognition, they tend to write a year in review post and perhaps a year coming up post. And I think that's pretty cool. So if any of you do that, let me know and I'd be happy to read it.
Right on. I agree. I'm also going to get out of here. It's wonderful to see everyone. I'll
It's
see you all
5
next
o'clock,
week.
Yeah.
See you, Randy.
I look forward
Take
to
care.
it. Take care. I'm probably going to jump off as well, friends.
All right.
That
I'm
sounds good.
staying
Good to see you.
forever.
Thanks for hanging out. I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you next Thursday.
All right.
Take care.
Yeah. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.